Hey, you're listening to Wrestling Roundup on FreeFM 89.0, ArrowFM, and NPR. As always, I'm Grady, and live on Skype we got Josh.
Hey.
We're gonna start off with doing a Super Showdown recap, despite the fact that it was like, when this airs, about 6 days ago. And we're gonna start off with the tag team division. The Usos, they managed to pick up a win over the Revival on the pre-show.
That's okay, because the Revival got a present on Raw.
Right where I was heading. Because then we jump over to Raw right afterwards, and Ryder and Hawkins, who have done absolutely nothing with the belts, have to defend them against the Usos and the Revival. And we extend the Revival's contract just a little bit further. I mean, they win the belts.
Yeah, it's part of that Shane McMahon faction.
Every time you mention Shane McMahon, I'm just gonna bash my head into a desk, okay? I am over Shane McMahon. Which I guess is a great segue to talk about his match at Super Showdown, where Shane McMahon defeated Roman Reigns with the help of Drew McIntyre.
I take a bow.
To be fair, not the hardest thing in the world to predict, but you did.
Yeah, I kind of expected it, to be honest, and I'm not at all surprised that Drew helped.
Nah. It's slightly depressing, because it means that he is still attached with Shane McMahon, but was not surprising.
Yeah, Shane is the boss. That gives Drew power. And it gives him the ability to replace Baron Corbin after Baron Corbin fails again at Stomping Ground.
Hopefully.
And then he can be the Universal Champion.
Oh, cool. You giving him the belt?
Yeah. SummerSlam.
Is that just to make Grady happy? Or are you legitimately giving him the belt?
Well,
I feel like you're saying this just to make me happy.
I could give it to him. You might not like it because it's only worth $425.
Biff it in a box, ship it to him, he'll pick it up, and it'll be great. But yeah, I'm gonna quickly check something, but while I'm checking it, you mentioned there the Universal Champion, so let's jump over to that match. Seth Rollins, he defeated Baron Corbin.
It almost like it doesn't even matter. But
it's
yeah,
like I called it.
Then the cash-in happened, but didn't happen.
I'd like to point out, for all of the championship changes you were calling, you were like, we're gonna have like 50 million. Grady was right. So you got your little Josh was right moment. Grady gets his Grady was right. 0 title changes in Saudi Arabia.
I just thought it would be a fun little note.
But no, yeah, absolutely none, because again, the pay-per-view has 0 consequences, and any match on the card that was meant to have consequences is just being rematched at Stomping Grounds anyway. Such as this Finn Balor Baron Corbin match, where they will be facing off once again at Stomping Grounds in 2 weeks. 2 weeks of content, I believe.
You might want to rewind.
I extract that 1 week of content. I'm rewinding.
No, you said Finn Balor versus Baron Corbin.
She's fine. I make mistakes all the time. I'm reading off the wrong line. Seth Rollins versus Baron Corbin will be rematched at Stomping Grounds with a special guest referee. Is the referee going to be Brock Lesnar?
I've heard Shane McMahon.
But how does that get Drew the belt? I'm all about this getting Drew the belt thing.
Well, obviously there will be a ref bump, and then another ref will come out and count the 3 for Seth, and Shane reacts by giving Drew a title match.
Easy, there we go. You've made me happy. But yeah, Stomping Grounds, the land of rematches. Another match that we will also be getting rematched is Drew McIntyre versus Roman Reigns. It's not from Super Showdown, but it is a match that we have had a million times between these two now with this Shane McMahon tie-in. Where I believed originally Drew was going to be jumping from to head into the Universal title picture, and instead he's taken a bit of a side road.
And this time he defeats the big dog.
Finally, you're giving him the win.
Yeah.
Much like you're giving him the belt in like 3 months. At this point, you can give Drew everything, and I won't argue. But don't you dare take anything away from him, because he is integral to the Shane McMahon, Roman Reigns, but also slightly Miz. I guess this feud is so widespread that it's like I would assume it's building to Survivor Series if Survivor Series wasn't so far away. Like it very much feels like Roman, the Usos, and the Miz versus the Revival, Drew, Shane, Baron. Maybe not Shane in there, maybe 5v4. I'm sure the Roman team could get an extra member there. But it feels like you're building to a 5v5 without that opportunity necessarily being so close.
True.
And I don't know if... Obviously won't get a traditional Survivor Series match, but maybe we end up with an 8-man tag or something. Mainly because there's a lot of pay-per-views between now and SummerSlam that we got to stall through. And by that I mean Extreme Rules. And yeah, so we'll see. We will see. Because Seth is also sort of in there, but he's also dealing with a bigger beast. Where do we even go? I've jumped around this card so much. Screw it. WWE Championship. Kofi Kingston, he defeated Dolph Ziggler.
To bring the lifetime record to 13, 14, and 1.
Just depressing me telling me that. No, they had a match. And that record may tie up because they're having a rematch at Stomping Grounds. This time we're wrapping him in a cage and letting him go at it.
That should be fun. I think Kofi's having a good reign.
Mm-hmm.
Kofi's having a good old time.
Well, over on SmackDown, the New Day, they're back. They reunited. And they seem to be taking aim at Ziggler, Owens, and Zayn. They had a nice little 6-man tag match that they came out on top of at the end of the card as well. So obviously Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn also pretty tied closely to this Kofi Kingston feud. And if it wasn't for the pit stop that we'll call Super Showdown, could be at a different path at this point. So being in a steel cage, which is, it's got no roof, and it's definitely been interfered with many times. Going in a match against people who have people on their corner might not be good for Kofi.
No, but he does have people in his corner too.
It's true. And I would be happy to see Big E climb into the cage and jump on some fools. Same as Kevin Owens. To be fair, these two trios are actually built quite the same. Interesting. I'm sure that's completely and utterly accidental, but I don't think Owens and Zayn will be entirely left off Stomping Grounds, whether they're interfering in that match, whether they're going in a tag match against the other two members of the New Day, where we will have to wait and see for 1 week of content. I double-checked. And see what they're going to be ending up doing with them. Let's knock off the last championship match, because that seems to be what we're doing. I've already talked about Finn Balor accidentally, but let's talk about him for realsies now. He did not lose the belt to Andrade. The Demon is still undefeated on the main roster.
Ooh.
Yeah, and he also did not lose the belt on SmackDown like I had predicted, so, whoops. Yeah, I guess Andrade's not getting his shot. To be fair, he could still get it at Stomping Grounds, he could still get it at Extreme Rules, but I don't quite know, if he didn't capture it now, what are we what are we going with?
I still think there's big things for Andrade coming. Just maybe not as soon as I thought.
You may have to sit down and wait a while. I was trying to come up with a pun about sitting down and waiting a while to transition into our song, and I just couldn't do it, so here's Seth Rollins' theme. You know, because he both defended his title and beat the ever-loving poop out of Brock Lesnar. Here's that song for you now. And you're back with the Wrestling Roundup on FreeFM 89.0, ArrowFM, NPR, Grady and Josh. When I say it like that, we sound like a radio station. It's fine. What match do you want to hit next? We've got everything that wasn't a title match.
Let's get the easiest thing out of the way. The 3-on-1 handicap.
That's a good point. Lars Sullivan won, but not in the way we thought he would, probably. With it being a disqualification ending, because the Lucha House Party all three of them just basically fought and didn't abide by the rules of tagging in and out. But ultimately, Lars Sullivan got the last laugh anyway as he squishes all three of them, so, hey. And no Sin Cara coming out to join them, so Grady sad.
Well, yeah. In the end, Lars gets a win and gets to demolish an entire trio.
Couldn't have worked
Lars
out any
smash.
better for him. Yeah. That's pretty much all he's doing. And it'll be interesting to see what or who he's going to smash next, because, again, on Raw, he was still just smashing the Lucha House Party. It's like, dude, sort it out. Pick some new targets. I'm sure the next feud will be someone who comes out and says, pick on someone your own size, and has a feud with him. That's generally how it goes.
The only person we know it won't be is Aleister Black.
I feel like you're trying to segue to something, and I'm not with you.
Oh, no. Just Aleister Black is, too important to lose to Lars. Lars is too important to lose to Black, and I think Black's fixing to go into a feud with Orton.
Yeah, that definitely seems it. You know, Lars is sitting... Oh, not Lars, sorry. Black is sitting there saying, you know, he's waiting. He's waiting. And after the events of Super Showdown, where Randy Orton defeated Triple H in a 25-minute match, it feels like Orton might be the one he's waiting for.
And I would definitely be interested. That would be a great match, I think. Because when Orton wants to go, he can go with the best of them. And I think Orton's in the position now in his career where he just wants to help put people over and build people up. Yeah.
And he entirely put over that absolute young dog, Triple H, after the match. But no, Triple H ended up losing against Randy, which, you know, is both surprising and not surprising.
Yeah, well, I kind of expected it because Orton's still a full-time superstar. Triple H, not so much.
Yeah, that's the not surprising aspect, obviously, as being a part-timer versus a full-timer. But then the other surprising aspect of it is that the fact that it's Triple H. And Triple H don't lose. And,
except Triple H has done a ton of that in his part-time status.
Yeah, Triple H has lost most of the time here. Let's just chalk this up to Grady wrong, cross out what he said with chalk, and just say, Randy Orton won, yay! Talking about part-timers, there you go, see, I got a segue. You want to spend 3 seconds on this Undertaker Goldberg match before we just move on and completely ignore the fact that it ever happened?
Sure. Oh, we botched it.
It wasn't good, man. I watched the first minute and the last minute, and I saw enough. This was not good.
Well, that's what happens when you give yourself a concussion right before the match.
Yeah, it was bad from start to finish, you know. The very first segment of this match, Goldberg's entrance, concussion, botched from the start. The finish of the match, where Goldberg goes for the tombstone and the Undertaker's meant to reverse it. Goldberg can't even lift him. let's just end in a choke slam where Goldberg gets 2 feet off the ground. All the way to the end, it's botched. It was... I'm just going to keep going back to the words not good. I have no other words to describe this match. On a way I do, shouldn't have ever happened. I found some other words. What else do we have on the card? We got Braun Strowman. He took out Bobby Lashley in a match that had 0 consequence and was kind of just on the card.
Yeah. Our monster is falling quite the way since winning the Money in the Bank.
It's quite a thing when we're talking about him winning a pay-per-view match, and the thing we're discussing is how much he's dropped. Yeah, he was at the top of the mountain, and then somebody kicked him, and he's just been rolling down and snowballing and snowballing and snowballing. And he might take Bobby Lashley down that mountain with him, but he's still got a ways to go.
Oh, he can't take Lashley with him. Lashley's at the in a canyon underneath the mountain.
Oh, I forgot you. He's not your favorite. Yeah. Well, Braun then clearly fell into that canyon to be facing Bobby Lashley here. And, yeah, cry a single tear for one.
No, he just stomped on his hand when he was trying to climb out.
Fair call. It looks like, though, both men are going to be getting themselves involved in the United States upper mid-card picture of Raw anyway. Over on Raw, The Miz, Braun Strowman, and Ricochet took out the team of Samoa Joe, Bobby Lashley, and Cesaro.
Give me a shuffle match!
So, I don't know. I feel like when we have matches like this, that sort of solidifies the 6 that are in title contention. Of like, these are the 6 that will be going for that title in the next couple months.
That's why I said, give me a scramble match. I want it. We haven't had it in like 10 years.
Scramble's 5 or 6, or however many they want.
However many they wanted. Because I think one of them, when they had the pay-per-view that had like both world titles with them, one had 5 and I think one had 6.
Gotcha. So yeah, just scramble, done. Scramble the 6 of them. I feel bad for when Braun becomes the interim champ. Good luck. That being said, he has fallen, so, as we just talked about, he might be too stuck in his ball of snow from rolling down the mountain to be able to pin anyone. So that is what's happening with Strowman and Lashley. We have one last match on Super Showdown to talk about, and it is the Battle Royal, the 50-man Battle Royal. 51-man, according to Wikipedia. I wonder who that one is. Well, let me read the list of competitors, because it's totally not like we have heaps of time to kill, so I gotta read out these names. I'm gonna read them out anyway. Akeem, Akira Tozawa, Ali, Apollo Crews, Bo Dallas, Brian Kendrick, Buddy Murphy, Cedric Alexander, Cesaro, Chad Gable, Kurt Hawkins, Curtis Axel, Dash Wilder, Drew Gulak, EC3, Eric Young, Eric, Heath Slater, Humberto Carrillo, Ivar, Jey Uso, Jimmy Uso, Jinder Mahal, Carl Anderson, Luke Gallows, Matt Hardy, Mike Kanellis, Mojo Rawley, No Way Jose, Oni Lorcan, Otis, Razor, Ricochet, Robert Roode, Rowan, Rusev, Samir Singh, Samoa Joe, Scott Dawson, Shelton Benjamin, Shinsuke Nakamura, Sin Cara, Sunil Singh, The Miz, Titus O'Neil, Tony Nese, Tucker, Xavier Woods, and Zack Ryder. So that's the 50 men. And then we've got the one.
Actually, there are 2.
Yeah, I realized that. You meant to just roll with it.
Yeah. I don't mind this. It was a nice little moment for Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
They got to see somebody like them from their hometown win a major match in WWE when Mansoor eliminated Elias to win the match.
I will admit, I don't know how long this match ran, but for everything except minus, like, maybe the last 5 minutes, I had no clue who he was. I had no clue he was in that match. I didn't notice him, and I feel bad for that. But it wasn't until the commentators really started focusing on him that it was like, oh, okay, that's who that is.
Yeah, he's I like to say he's Ali's and Seth Rollins' stunt double.
Yeah, well, he had the little moment with Ali after the Battle Royal. And I did wonder if Ali was originally going to win this match, given that it's a 51-man Battle Royal and it was advertised as 50. I do wonder if that 51st man, whether it was Mansoor or not, whether a 51st man was inserted last minute or not. I don't know. It just seems like a weird number. And I don't know. I'm fine with the ending. I just wonder if it was always the original ending.
I'm gonna guess yes.
Okay. That is all. Full stop.
Yeah, because unlike the Greatest Royal Rumble, they actually had somebody from Saudi Arabia in the match this time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, fair enough. We'll just say that 51st person was Mike Kanellis or someone. It's fine. But one name that was missing from that list that I just read out was one R-Trussell.
Yeah, I don't think he actually showed up on the show.
He did not. Which is interesting because he lost his belt before boarding the plane to Saudi Arabia, thanks to Jinder Mahal pinning him on the tarmac. He then proceeded to pin Jinder Mahal, who was asleep in his airplane seat, to win the title back, and then run away from a group of people and hide in the plane bathroom.
God, this is so much fun. This title is.
It was surprising to not see R-Truth on the card, given, they filmed that skit. He was clearly on the plane to Saudi Arabia with everybody. But I don't know. I don't know if in storyline he stayed in the bathroom, never came out, and got sent to somewhere random in America because he just stayed on the plane or something. I don't know what the storyline is. All I know is that R-Truth didn't show up, so my headcanon is that he was still in that airplane bathroom. That's my headcanon, and you can't break it.
But I love that they're using the social media accounts the way that they should be with this title.
Yeah. And then, he finally finds his way back from Saudi Arabia, and then he gets himself jammed in an elevator with a whole bunch of challenges. And again,
that video has more than twice as many views as any other Raw video. It's I got over 2 million views.
The 24/7 championship videos do really well on YouTube.
Yeah, he's been a champion. Between his 5 reigns, he's been champion for 23 combined days. Nobody else is even a day. I don't think anybody else is more than 3 hours.
3 hours? No. Both the Jinder ones were immediate. It depends, in canon, how long there was between Jinder Mahal pinning him on the tarmac and him winning it back on the plane. I don't know the canon length of time there.
They put it as somewhere above the Red Sea. So
yeah.
I'm going to guess that maybe Jinder held it for 10 hours?
Oh, maybe. And then, over on SmackDown, it's just it's so many segments. I don't remember which show it happened on, but I know that R-Truth ended up hiding in a electrical equipment crate. And then he posted videos on social media that he was still stuck in there because Carmella left him. So yeah, they're really doing this belt well. That's all I can say. They're not cheaping out on it. Is there anything on SmackDown? To be fair, that is not any of the women's feuds, but I don't have time to talk about a whole massive feud. We will get to their Stomping Grounds. In fact, let's just talk about their Stomping Ground stuff. Bayley versus Alexa Bliss for the SmackDown Women's title.
We saw. Hopefully this time Bayley can retain her title. Didn't work so well last time.
I would be surprised if Alexa Bliss wins here. And then over on Raw, Becky Lynch defending her Raw Women's Championship against Lacey Evans.
I think this time it'll be a more emphatic win for the man.
No faith in a Lacey win?
No, I don't. It's not that I don't have any faith. I don't think she's ready.
Fair enough. Alright, well, we've hit our time limit, and that means that it's been great talking to you.
Bye-bye!
And that you can visit our Facebook page on facebook.com/WrestlingRadio or our Twitter page, twitter.com/WrestlingRadio. And we'll see you next week with the preview for Stomping Grounds, because there's already another pay-per-view coming up.